Alright folks, and welcome back to the Don's channel. I am the Donfather and I've got an absolute treat for you now. This is Gurkha World War II and the video is from Simple History, who have 1.8 million subscribers, so they're going to break it down simply in cartoon form. So for people who struggle with history, it might make it a little bit more interesting for you. But before we start, I want to say one thing. I've chosen this video because I believe the Gurkhas deserve to be shown on my channel. I believe they're probably one of the most fearless types of people on the planet, and they make potentially the best soldiers on the planet also. I've got nothing but respect for these people and from the country Nepal where they come from. So, no more talking. Let's do this. Let's go.
Gurkha, World War II. As soon as the British declared war on Germany in 1939, they immediately started mobilizing troops from the Commonwealth. Men from all over the empire joined the British forces to contribute to the fight. Among them were the Gurkhas. Before the Second World War, the Gurkhas were in service of the British Army for more than a century, fighting in all corners of the world for the British Empire. Once enemies during the Anglo-Nepalese War from 1814 to 1816, the British found a mutual respect for the fighting abilities of the Gurkhas, and large numbers volunteered for the British Army afterwards.
They're so brave.
They came from the Kingdom of Nepal, a small country on the southern slopes of the Himalayas, working as farmers and shepherds. Life in such a rough environment made them into tough soldiers who never questioned orders and did not see retreat as an option. Their motto was, "Better to die than be a coward." Being among the finest soldiers in the entire empire, the British Army recruited Gurkhas whenever reliable manpower was required.
Proud that they've served
Among
alongside
the Gurkhas
British.
were several tribes that are considered more warrior-like than the others. But in times of war, men from other, less martial tribes were being recruited as well. During the war, nearly 250,000 Gurkhas were recruited by the British in more than 40 battalions, in addition to the 8 battalions of Nepalese army that also entered the war on the side of the Allies. Being a part of the British Indian Army in the first years of the war, the Gurkhas were deployed to the British Middle East territories such as Iraq and Syria, and to northern Africa, where they fought against the Axis forces. It was after December 9th, when the United Kingdom declared war on Japan, that the Indian Army and Gurkhas were engaged on a higher scale, primarily to protect Malaya from the Japanese forces. They would go on to fight in Italy, Greece, Singapore, India, and Burma. Even though the Gurkhas had a special reputation in the British Army, they were not organized as a separate formation. Battalions of Gurkha regiments were deployed to regular units of the army. Being a part of the Indian Army, which was under British command, Gurkhas wore the typical dress, the M37 khaki drill uniform with Bombay bloomers, long-legged trousers that could be buttoned up to become shorts. They also carried the standard 1937 pattern web equipment. By the end of the war, this uniform was replaced with a more practical olive-green battle dress for jungle warfare. Gurkha soldiers that were deployed to Africa and later engaged in Italy wore the distinctive British uniform for these campaigns. What was distinctive for the Gurkha uniform was their slouch hat, the trademark of the Gurkhas since the beginning of the 20th century. When not wearing the standard steel helmet, Gurkhas wore their tarai hats, which were actually made of two hats sewn together to make them more rigid. Hats were wrapped with a light puggaree and were worn tilted to the right side. Being incorporated in Army units, Gurkhas were equipped with standard British weapons such as the Lee Enfield No. 4 rifle and Bren light machine gun, and American weapons such as the Thompson M1928 and M1A1 submachine guns. However, each Gurkha carried a close combat weapon of his own, a weapon that was distinctive to his Himalayan nation. More famous than their tarai hats were their kukri knives. Kukris were the Gurkhas' favorite close combat weapon and were carried in almost every assault. On numerous occasions, Gurkhas attacked the enemy with a rifle in one hand and a kukri in the other. Kukris were designed to be cutting knives, their length varying from 16 to 18 inches. They are distinctive for their forward curving blade, which is sharp only on the lower concave side. A legend goes that the shape of the blade resembles the shape of Nepal. Gurkhas were very skillful with their kukris, and were known to have inflicted severe damage in close combat on the enemy by using only these knives. Because of this, kukris gained an almost mythical status, with many stories told about them. One of the most famous kukri legends was that a Gurkha has to spill blood every time he took out his kukri from its scabbard. Therefore, if a Gurkha took out his kukri just to show it to someone, he would have had to cut at least his thumb in order to respect the tradition. The Gurkhas
Is
proved
this
to be
true,
fearless
Gurkhas?
and ruthless warriors in combat. They never questioned orders and always fought vigorously, no matter how strong the opponent or how important the battle. Their attack was always followed by the battle cry, Ayo Gurkhali, meaning the Gurkhas are upon you. 12 Gurkhas were awarded the Victoria Cross for gallantry against the enemy during the war.
Incredible
More than
soldiers.
43,000 Gurkhas lost their lives fighting alongside the British Army during World War II. Subscribe and click the notification bell
guys,
for
that
more
was
history
good.
videos.
Sure, they do loads of cool
Get
stuff.
your copy of Simple History, World
That
War
was
II
absolutely
today.
brilliant. I hope you've learned
Hey,
something
Simple History fans,
that
if
you
you're
may not
looking
have
for a
already
better way
known
to
about
support
the
the channel
Gurkhas,
and
but
help
the
us
kukri
create
knife,
more
I've actually
epic
heard the myth.
content, consider becoming a sponsor
legend that
on
if
our
they take
channel.
it from the scabbard, the
Sponsoring
kukri,
means that
they
for
actually
just
have to
$5
draw
a
blood.
month, you
So
get these
as they said
amazing
in the
perks.
video,
You
this
can
could
be
mean
the
actually
first to
cutting
see
their own
new
thumb or
episodes
hand
with
to
early
spill blood
access.
to keep
You'll
up
be able
the
to watch
tradition
new
of the
episodes
weapon.
before anyone else with this perk. A custom icon that shows alongside your
incredible
username in the
soldiers.
comments section and in
And
live
the
chat.
bit where it
When
says
you
they
sponsor us,
never
you also become an
question
influencer
orders.
with
That sounds
sponsor-only
so
comments.
accurate
You can
to
communicate
what I think
directly
of when
with
I think
us
of the
and help
Gurkhas.
us pick the topics that we'll
If
do
they're asked
next
to do
on
something,
Simple
they
History.
do it, and they do
Our
it to the
videos
best
will
of their
continue to be
ability,
uploaded
and I
as
love
usual.
it when
And
they
remember,
say,
it's not mandatory to sponsor
"You'd rather
us.
die
Thank
than be a
you for
coward."
letting us feed your hunger for
Absolutely
history.
sensational. Ayo Gurkhali, absolutely brilliant. Epic video. I hope any Gurkhas watching it enjoyed the video, the history of your time with the British forces and indeed the Indian Army as well, the Commonwealth in World War II. We probably couldn't have won the battles without you, with your bravery, so respect to the Gurkhas and indeed the volunteers from the whole of Nepal and the Commonwealth. Absolutely brilliant, I loved it. I hope you've enjoyed my reaction. Don't forget guys, subscribe to the Don channel because we're going to be bringing you loads of cool stuff from around the world and you don't want to miss that, so put the notifications bell on as well so you're alerted to any future videos that we release onto our channel. Thanks again, I am the Donfather, peace and goodbye.